Let's do 1 or 2 times through Blessing to the World, because that one is fast. So yeah, we do maybe 2-3 times through Blessing to the World. Do, 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 do. Yeah, it's probably about time. Well, we still got people back there. Let's go.
Come on, people.
All right. Let's do "Love Is My Decision," and I'll cut us off after this second. All right. Good morning, everybody at Unity. It's nice to see everyone's smiling faces, and I think even more exciting to see the sun out. So, whether you are here in the sanctuary or online, welcome. I am John Moody. We are joined today with the powerhouse combination of Dave Van Haren on drums and Kay Sato on piano. And we have local favorite Deb Imbrock is singing today. And we have a very special guest that came in at the last minute for special music. We have Carol Lawrence. So if you are able, please stand with me as we go through our opening congregational songs. All right.
Love is my decision, up to me to give up my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love
Good morning. I am the active, attractive, and in demand Wendy Weaver. And I am your platform person for today, so thank you for that honor. And thank you to everyone who has made the service possible today. We have script, hospitality, and bookstore upstairs, our audio and streaming team, the ushers, PowerPoint, our youth leaders, and you know what? We never say thank you to Judy. And of course, our wonderful music team, right? And if you haven't already, now is a good time to silence your phone. You know, there's that little icon that has the speaker and it has a line through it. That means it's off, okay? All right. I know you got it. Okay. We'd like to welcome any newcomers today with a small gift bag after service. So to receive that gift bag, we ask you to fill out this card that's in the pew pocket and hand to an usher when you leave. Thanks for joining us today. And then we have some announcements, right? All right, we have a great lineup of talks in April, starting today with Where Do We Go From Here with Reverend Judy, followed by Meaningful Change next week upstairs for second Sunday. April 21st, we will have Karen Colson back, and we close the month with a popular Taze service. And then there's no choir practice tomorrow night, but feel free to join the choir for rehearsal on the 15th. All are welcome. The next performance will be May 5th. Should be a fun time. All right. Wednesday, we will be having our movie night starting at 4:30. We are showing I'm Not Your Negro, based on a manuscript written by James Baldwin called Remember This House. Baldwin writes about racism in the lives of Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and Medgar Evers. Please join us. We will have a brief discussion after. Saturday, we are walking to end homelessness with Housing Resources, Inc. Please sign up and join us or sponsor our team. Information is in the easing and out on the counter. On April 28th, we will have our quarterly town hall and pick up where we left off in discussing the next steps in unity, or for unity of Kalamazoo. Lastly, who doesn't love a sale? All books and CDs upstairs are 50% off in the bookstore. Items priced as marked, so check that out after service today, okay? Julie, we'd love to see you up there. Now, would everyone that has a birthday in April please stand so we can sing happy birthday to you? And many more. Yeah, and then happy one more trip around the sun, right? So, okay, let's join in our mission statement. As an all-inclusive community, we awaken to spirit, grow into our souls, and build a better world. And then our vision statement. We celebrate a world of ever-awakening consciousness, abundance, peace, and love for all. Our core values: love, authenticity, stewardship, oneness, playfulness. And then our land and labor acknowledgement. Our spiritual community acknowledges Black, Indigenous, and people of color whose lands and labor were forcibly taken. We pledge to promote understanding, equity, justice, and inclusivity. Now it's time to acknowledge our youth here and in the community. Warm our hands. As you go your way, know that you are loved, special, and important to us.
You are the face of God, and you and I are one. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of love. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of love. You are the face of peace. Your peace brings peace to me. You are a part of me. You are the face of peace. You are the face of joy. I feel it deep within. You are a part of me. You are the face of joy. You are the face of God, and you and I are one. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are a part of me. You are the face of God.
Good morning, everyone. We take this time to just settle into some prayer and some reflection, some time to connect with and acknowledge that divinity that is deep within us and ever present. And we typically begin this time with a reading of the daily word. So, the word for today is divine order. I delight in the glorious colors, fragrances, and arrangement of plants in a garden. I celebrate the imagination, the meticulous planning, and the diligent work that transformed a patch of ground, some seeds, water, and fertilizer into a beautiful, life-filled place. I recognize the role of divine order in the creation of this garden, expressing through everyone who worked to bring it into being. It began as an idea in divine mind. Someone received an idea. Cooperating minds developed a plan. Willing hands prepared soil, planted seeds, then watered and tended the growing plants. My spiritual vision perceives divine order, the eternal dance of mind, idea, and manifestation expressing everywhere. And from Genesis 1, verse 31, God saw everything that he had made, and indeed it was very good. And there was evening, and there was morning on the sixth day. And so our affirmation for today is, I see divine order expressing everywhere. I'll say that once more and then invite you to join me the third time. I see divine order expressing everywhere. Together, I see divine order expressing everywhere. Oh, so let's just take that thought into our hearts for a moment. Knowing that the definition of divine order is mind, idea, expression. So first and foremost, we tap into that great power of imagination, the vast imagination and intelligence of the Creator. We are part of that mind. We are connected to it. And its reach is far beyond that of our own imagination. And by lifting our eyes to see that bigger picture, opening our hearts to that wider view, we become aware of possibilities and potential, things that we had not considered before, ideas that had never even occurred to us. But all of a sudden, there they are, bursting forward into full bloom, like that beautiful garden described in the Daily Word. And so as our mind fills with possibilities, and as our hearts open, the ideas are springing up everywhere. The seeds are opening and sprouting. The little shoots are pushing up through the soil, connecting with the sun, feeling the rain, growing taller, stretching in every possible direction toward their highest and good. And so as these ideas come to fruition in our mind and begin to lead us towards our highest and best, we take action. We move forward. We are confident in the steps that we should take. We may not see the full path, but the next few steps are always enlightened, guided, and available to us. And so we continue to move forward, knowing that wherever we next need to plant our foot, the ground is firm. We are supported. We are protected. We are guided. And all is well. There is divine order in each breath that we take, in each heartbeat. In every thought. every word and every action. When we open our heart and mind to that divine order. And so I invite you now just to take a few moments in silent reflection, a few moments in silence, just to consider what it means to open your heart and mind to the imagination of the Creator, the wisdom and intelligence that created this universe, the wisdom and intelligence that will bring us a solar eclipse tomorrow, and the knowledge that we now have about how and why that happens. And so understanding that divine order is everywhere present, when we open ourselves to it, we take this time now to open our hearts and open our minds to the presence of divine order. I invite you to now bring your attention and focus back to this time and this place. And as you go through your day today and you look about, please see divine order expressing everywhere, especially divine order expressing as you. The miracle that you are. The blessing to the world that you are. The face of God that you bring each and every day. And with that we say amen, and so we let it be.
I don't know how to segue that to a story about murder and passion and the story of Carmen by the opera by Georges Bizet. I guess Carmen is somebody who has nothing except her own belief in how she wants to live, and she will not let the world or a man encroach on her own self-will. I'm playing this excerpt here from Carmen, which is the beginning of Act 3. A lot has happened. She met a guy. It was wonderful for a while, and other things started to encroach on his life, and so he asked her to stay and do, and be this person, and she just wouldn't. I picked it also because there are 2 performances of Carmen in our community, or one in our community, next month. May 19th, a Sunday, 3 o'clock at First United Methodist Church. I think it's about $7 to see it. It's the Kalamazoo Philharmonia. That's a community orchestra, and I am honored to play flute. I am playing first flute in the second half, and I share principal with the wonderful Chris Griffiths, who plays the first 2 acts. So it's a major undertaking for any community orchestra, and we're pairing with some great, great voices, Michigan Opera Project. So that's a really good opportunity to hear this story of passion and murder. This is a moment of tranquility that starts Act 3 here. Not sure where you wanted that mic to be. That's good. That's the one? All right.
never fear our appreciation of a woman who knows her own mind, regardless of the circumstances. So, thank you. That was lovely. So, I believe everyone is aware that Brent Decker is leaving the Kalamazoo area, and in conjunction with his planned relocation, he released his responsibilities here as our music director. And John Moody is our new music director, and we are very grateful and very blessed to have him. But when I sent him the confirming email that we were converting his status from interim music director to our official music director, his parting comment to me was, "Does it come with a sash?" And of course, I made the mistake of sharing that at the staff meeting. And if you know my two cohorts, Tracy and Marion, well, it just kind of evolved from there. So John, if you could please come out from behind. We have your official music director's sash for you. There you go. There you go. Oh, goodness. Thank you. Thank you to, and as you all know, whenever there's good trouble afoot, Miss Melanie is usually right there. So yes, thank you, Melanie, thank you, Tracy, and all, and thank you, John, for stepping into the space, and gosh, you'd been here for a number of years, and it's just a delight to be able to work with you at this level, at this time. So, it occurs to me that from time to time I hear from folks that I'm so serious, and I don't smile enough, and I'm just so serious and so focused all the time. Some of you know the truth, apparently. But I guarantee you, I do have my moments of inspired madness, this being one of them. And I used to be a lot more intense than I am now. And I don't know that I necessarily have more squirrel moments these days. But I just find myself wandering and thinking about other things, so. But, in the interest of squirrel moments, I came across something in one of my newsletters in the last week or so, and I wanted to take a moment to share it with you. Because, on so many levels, it's just representative of the fact that, when you're doing church business, there's always something. Something's always coming up. There's always something to be taken care of. So, the folks over at the Presbyterian Church called a meeting to decide what to do about their squirrel infestation. After much prayer and consideration, they concluded that the squirrels were predestined to be there, and they should not interfere with God's divine will. Turns out the Baptists also had a problem. The squirrels had taken an interest in their baptistry area, where they had the baptismal font and the pool for, dunking people for baptisms. Squirrels got into that. So their deacons met, and they decided to install a water slide, thinking that the squirrels would drown themselves, not knowing that squirrels liked the slide a whole big bunch, and unfortunately knew instinctively how to swim. So twice as many squirrels showed up the following week. The Lutheran Church decided that when the squirrels came to their place, they were not in a position to harm any of God's creatures. So they humanely trapped the squirrels and set them free near the Baptist church. 2 weeks later, the squirrels were back after the Baptists took down the water slide. The Episcopalians tried to do a much more unique approach to their squirrel infestation. They set out pans of whiskey around the church grounds in an effort, apparently, to have the squirrels pass from alcohol poisoning. And they sadly learned how much damage a bunch of drunken squirrels can do. Catholics were a bit more creative. They baptized all the squirrels and made them members of the church, and now they only see them at Christmas and Easter. Not much was heard from the synagogue. They took the first squirrel and circumcised him, and they haven't seen a squirrel since. So, there's a whole bunch of squirrel moments for you. I hope you enjoyed that. So, here's the big question today, right? Where do we go from here? And in all seriousness, this is a very powerful and it's a very important question. And it's one that we should ask ourselves on a regular basis, both personally and, in any of our, important relationships and endeavors. It's important to me because one of the things that I've learned in life is that time passes. And time passes with or without your attention, and with or without your intention. It's something I ran into all the time in my work as a career coach, and frankly, it comes up in spiritual coaching and spiritual counseling as well. Billy Joel, I like Billy Joel. He had a song called Vienna, and there's a great line in that song that repeats itself a few times. It says, when the truth is told, that you can get what you want, or you can just get old. And I think that's true. It's part and parcel of that, with or without your attention and intention. But beyond that, I wanted to be a little more serious about that. And in doing some more research, I found a couple of quotes that I thought might help to illustrate this point. So the first one is from Benjamin Franklin, and it says, "You may delay, but time will not." And then the second quote is from a man by the name of Herb Gardner, who was an American cartoonist, a playwright, and a screenwriter. And Herb said, "You have got to own your days and live them. Each one of them. Every one of them. Else the years go by and none of them belong to you." Also, in doing my research, I learned that this question, where do we go from here, just happens to be the title of a very important speech that was given by Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King on the 10th anniversary of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. And this was back in August of 1967 that he gave this speech. And of course, this past Thursday, April 4th, was the 56th anniversary of his assassination at the age of 39. So young, right? So young. So, having laid a little bit of this groundwork for today's conversation, let's go ahead and tackle that question, where do we go from here? And what I'd like to do is I'd like to examine it from a couple of different points of view. The first point of view that I would like to explore is that of the disciples in the weeks and the days right after Jesus died. Next, I'd like to take a look at it in the context of our spiritual community and include some insights and some observations from Dr. King. And then the final perspective will speak to really the decisions that we make and the actions that we take on an individual basis. So let's get started with the disciples. We know from our conversations about this final week in Jerusalem that right after Jesus was arrested, they were really afraid that they would be next. And so they went into hiding. And then after Jesus was put to death, they were absolutely paralyzed by fear and doubt. When we celebrated Easter last week, we talked about the message from the angel to the disciples. The message that Jesus had risen from the dead and gone on ahead to Galilee and would meet them there. Knowing that Galilee was their home base, we interpreted the angel's message to symbolize the importance of coming home to the truth of our being. We interpreted that to be an invitation to look within and find and embrace our own divinity. We must wake up to that truth. And then when we come home to that truth, we realize the depth of our own potential. So, upon hearing the message that Jesus had gone on ahead to Galilee and would meet them there, there were only 2 members of the group who were willing to take their chances out in public. The rest of them were still deeply paralyzed by fear and doubt. And so, according to Luke chapter 24, later that afternoon, after they learned of the resurrection and heard the message from the angel, 2 of them left and were on the road to Emmaus. And as they were walking down the road, another person joined them. Well, the person that joined them was Jesus. But they didn't realize it. And he was asking them, well, what's going on with you? Why are you so fearful? And they were like, are you the only person who doesn't know what's happening? Are you the only person who didn't know what happened in Jerusalem? Come on, man. And so he listens to all of this fear and all of this, like they're totally unglued, right? And so he has some conversations with them a little bit, but then they still don't really kind of get that it's him. So they have to stop for the night, and he acts like he's going to go on, and they say, no, stay with us. So they sit down to have a meal together, and as they begin to eat, this stranger takes the bread and breaks the bread and blesses the bread, and all of a sudden, they realize that it is, in fact, Jesus who has been walking with them all afternoon. The teacher and the friend that they thought that they had lost forever. So symbolically, we go back and look at that story. As soon as those 2 disciples stepped out of fear and doubt and began to make their journey, Jesus was with them, and they were no longer alone and on their own. So in answer to their question, where do we go from here, Jesus continued to appear to them And he would meet with them and coach them and go through, remember we talked about this? Remember we talked about this? And he did that over a period of several weeks. And according to the Gospels, Jesus left them on the 40th day after his resurrection. And as we know, the number 40 is very significant in scriptures. And it's almost always associated with some sort of testing or a period of trial or the hardships that one must endure to become more spiritually aware. Remember, Jesus was in the desert for 40 days and 40 nights before he started his ministry. And the number 40 shows up in lots of other places. So 40, symbolic of what we need to go through, the hardships we need to endure in order to become more spiritually aware. So having taken this time after the death and resurrection of Jesus to deepen their own spiritual awareness, the disciples were then ready to begin their work to make followers of all nations. Now, the spiritual community that we have formed here is evidence of how that Great Commission, that's what they called it when Jesus said, "Go and make believers of all people." They call that the Great Commission. The fact that we're here and that we formed a community is kind of an evidence of how that all unfolded, right? Still happening today. And we can trace our own history back to a small group of individuals who came together to study the teachings of Jesus as they had been interpreted by Charles and Myrtle Fillmore. The person who founded and led that small study group, a woman by the name of Amy Moffat, had actually studied with the Fillmores. She had taken their correspondence courses, and then she actually went down to Unity Village. She studied with them, and she received her ordination. And she came back, and she founded this community. And just like the early church in those days after Jesus was gone, our first meetings were held in people's homes. And that format continued for 40 years. We evolved from meeting in people's homes to some rented space, some rented rooms. At one point, we finally started meeting in a church, the Second Reformed Church. We took space from them and rented it. And finally, got to having our own building. So our first location was on Fairfax Avenue. And from there, we moved to 910 West Main, which was our home for 25 years. And we outgrew that space, and we moved here to this location 20 years ago. So, as a community, we are currently in conversation about where do we go from here? What's next? The board hosted a planning workshop back in the beginning of February. We've reviewed the information and all of the ideas that were shared at that time. And in the next week or so, we're going to be announcing the formation of a couple of project teams that you all can get involved with that will help us determine our needs and define what choices are available to us and what actions might best serve our community. Now, when Dr. King gave his speech on the 10th anniversary of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, he talked about the importance of crafting a strategy for change. He talked a lot about that during his speech. I skimmed and read most of it, and it's long. But he was really stressing the importance of striking a balance between the past and the future. And he told his audience that without a strategy that takes into consideration all that has been accomplished, I mean, let's take a look at where we've been and what we've done. Without a strategy that took into consideration all that had been accomplished and clearly identified what still needed to be done, he said, we're vulnerable to solutions that don't solve, answers that don't answer, and explanations that don't explain. We really, 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 really need to understand where we've been, where we are, and where we're going, if this is going to continue to work as well as it has. And he reminded the audience that actions speak louder than words, and that actionable plans are really the only way to effectively implement strategic goals and new ideas. And that's nothing new. I mean, that's old advice. Actions speak louder than words. You know, it's one thing to have a plan, it's another thing to take action and make it happen. So he wasn't telling them anything new. And that's important, because if something works, if it's not broke, it doesn't need to be fixed, right? So, produce results. It works when we work it, when we put together those actionable plans. Remember, we pray, but when we pray, we move our feet, yes? So, the last perspective that I want to mention this morning is one that really pertains to us as individuals. And it speaks to our life outside of these walls. It really speaks to the way that we're kind of showing up in the world. And I recently saw an interview with Steve Martin. And, you know, he's a comedian, an actor, an author, a musician. Many of us, given our collective ages or common ages, remember him from Saturday Night Live, right? And, right, he was, I am a wild and crazy guy, right? Remember that? I had forgotten how completely dorky that whole thing was and how long it went on for, right? Because I am a wild and crazy guy. Yeah? So in that interview, he said something that really resonated with me. But before I share that with you, I want to share with you what is probably his most famous quote. And he has a very famous quote about walking a mile in someone's shoes before you criticize them. And this is what he says. Before you criticize someone, you should walk a mile in their shoes. That way, when you criticize them, you'll be a mile away, and you'll have their shoes so they can't chase you. All right, now, set that aside. Set that aside, because I want to share the idea with you that really resonated with me. And this is what he said. As we get older, we either become our worst selves or our better selves. And I believe that the invitation of Easter, to come home to the truth of our being, to look within to discover and reclaim our divinity, can't help but lead us to becoming our best self. So in the days and the weeks ahead, I invite you to consider where you are on your path to becoming your best self. And also to really take to heart and consider the question, where do I go from here? What's next for me? It's important because you may delay, but time will not. So own your days. Live your days, each and every one of them. And as we come together in community to support each other on this journey, let's put our heads and our hearts together to figure out where we go from here, individually and collectively. God bless you all. Have an amazing week.
Thanks, Judy. Thought-provoking message. Makes me think of condos made of stona in Tucson, Arizona. I'm Joe Daly, a member of your board, and this month's affirmation, I walk in harmony and acceptance with all beings. And if you'll join me in the offertory blessing, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
After that marvelous series of meditations and well thought out arguments, I'm just going to skip English altogether and sing some Gaelic mouth music. These are songs to keep you entertained. Even if you have no instruments around, so you could dance to these little ditties in Scotland or Ireland. And I've got a jig and a reel. Verder var spara med dig. Verder var med dig mor. Na kona mir di mari. Verder var med dig mor. Verder var smara med dig. Verder var med dig mor. Na kona mir di mari. Verder doen worden met de mora, verder doen worden smora met de dish, verder doen worden met de mora, kona mir di mari. Verder doen worden met de mora, verder doen worden smora met de dish, verder doen worden met de mora, kona mir di mari. Verder doen worden met de mora, verder doen worden smora met, verder doen worden met de mora, kona mir di mari. Verder doen worden met de mora, verder doen worden smora met de dish, verder doen worden met de mora, kona mir di mari. Verder doen worden met de mora, verder doen worden smora met de dish, verder doen worden met de mora, kona mir di mari. Verder doen worden met de mora, verder doen worden smora met, verder doen worden met de mora, kona mir di mari. Verder doen vikka met de kutriga, verder doen vikku triga met de, verder doen vikka met de kutriga met de mari. Verder doen vikka met de kutriga, verder doen vikku triga met de, verder doen vikka met de kutriga met de mari. Shimmer the hand me, shimmer the rain me, shimmer the hand me, moya van hai, shimmer the hand me, shimmer the rain me, shimmer the hand me, moya van hai. Anamina got again, got again, got again. Anamina got again, clear up the moina. Anamina got again, got again, got again. Anamina got again, clear up the moina. Shimmer the hand me, shimmer the rain me, shimmer the hand me, moya van hai. Shimmer the hand me, shimmer the rain me, shimmer the hand me, moya van hai. Anamina fish again, fish again, fish again. Anamina fish again, Spanish banantaja. Anamina fish again, fish again, fish again. Anamina fish again, Spanish banantaja. Shimmer the hand me, shimmer the rain, shimmer the hand me, moya van hai. Shimmer the hand me, shimmer the rain me, shimmer the hand me, moya van hai. Anamina got again, got again, got again. Anamina got again, clear up the moina. Anamina got again, got again, got again. Anamina got again, clear up the moina.
thank you. It just got me so excited for the rest of the day. So I'm all ready to go out, to go from here. Right. Thank you so much. Let's just take a breath. And then we are tithing. We are a tithing church, and this month's tithes go to. I should have had this. I feel like in the winter is. Okay, so we have Habitat for Humanity, Unity of Kalamazoo, Great Lakes Unity Regional Conference, and Unity Worldwide Ministries. There we go. All right. So again, let us take a breath and pray. Loving Spirit, we are grateful for all the many blessings and gifts that we experience in our daily lives. We are thankful for the offerings received today and throughout the week, and affirm that these will be used for our highest good here at Unity. We continue to pray for all people facing challenges here in our community and throughout the world. And we continue to imagine and see a world at peace. May we all be comforted by that vision and by the Christ consciousness within our hearts. Amen.
All right, today is a very special day. Not only is it the first or the beginning of a very special month, one of my favorite months, it is also a time to celebrate something that happened a year ago, very near April Fool's Day. Some say it was on April Fool's Day, but we were not fools. A year ago, we signed a contract with Reverend Judy Pilot. So she has been here 1 year. Would you please come up? Would you please come up? So Google says the first anniversary is always a very important one, and that they strive to come up with the best gift, memorable gift. And their suggestions are paper and carnations. And while I am a rule follower, the rest of the board is not necessarily. And we wanted something that would remind you every spring of the fresh start that you brought to us last year. And with a little love and care, these will continue to bloom. And we hope that these will remind you of the love and appreciation that we have for you, how much love and appreciation that we have for you, and that you're always home. So when they come up next spring, you can remember how much we love and appreciate you. What is in the bag are tulips, and I kept them in the bag because they smell very, very good. And I didn't want to offend anyone that has allergies. So there are a couple of different pots in there. So you do have to plant them, but we want them to serve as a reminder to you how much you are loved. And with that, I'm wondering, I'm a little offbeat here today in my planning. So I did not ask any of the other board members to help me with this, but would you all help me with doing the blessing? Can we bless Reverend Judy? We all know that by heart by now. We bless you. Love. See, I need help with that.
You love me? Yeah.
Will you please come?
Okay. You love me. You bless me. You
We
appreciate me.
you.
And you
Behold the Christ as you. Thank you. I apologize for not having it written down.
You know, in a pinch, leaders lead, right?
Thank you.
Thank you. Happy birthday. Thank you.
And there is cake upstairs for those who would like cake. So, Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, before we go up and have cake, then as we bring our service to a close, I invite you to please stand and join me in our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And then we will sing the peace song, but if you're comfortable, you may hold hands with your neighbor or just place your hand on your heart and connect within.